So for our last part of section 2 before the homework, this should be a short video, but I did not want to rush it, so that's why it's labeled 3.2 part C, is we have this similar table like when we had the product rule, except now we're going to be dealing with the quotient rule here. So first of all, they have you estimating again. Now remember, 2.5 is really close to 2 and 3, so if you're estimating, it's a good idea to use your estimation symbols. But pick values for x that are on either side, and the best ones are 3 and 2. And yeah, just go to where g of x for 3 is -3 minus g of 2 is -1. So as you're looking at that, -3 plus 1 is -2 over 1. This is your approximation. I guess I should mention that this is roughly equivalent to the difference quotient of g of 3 minus g of 2 over 3 minus 2. That's where I got those values from. So as we look at and move forward with, I guess my perception is more difficult problems, is if they're asking you to find p prime of 4, then you'd better first find p prime of x. So if we follow the quotient rule, the derivative of the top, leave the bottom alone, minus the derivative of the bottom, leave the top alone, all over the denominator squared. So as we then do p prime of 4, well, find g prime of 4 first. G prime of 4 is -2. And then times f of 4, which is 1, minus f prime of 4 is 8. And then g of 4 is 7. All over f of 4, which is 1, squared. So we're left with -2 minus 56. That's -58, right? So what does that mean? Well, that is a negative value. I like to just write that it's less than 0. So the graph of p of x, is decreasing because we had a negative slope at x equals -4, at x equals +4. And then here's your reason. P prime of 4 is less than 0. That was stated in all of this, by the way. You don't have to rewrite it because it's stated up here, but that's what they're trying to get you to say. Notice that how I write it too, because the function's not increasing or decreasing everywhere. I mean, it could be, but it doesn't have to be. But you're saying that the function is decreasing at that specific x value. So now we have a product rule with a quotient rule. Now, if it were up to me, I would not necessarily leave the problem this way. I might actually look at that and rewrite q of x as 2x squared f of x over g of x. So now I only have to remember one rule. I don't know if that was the intention of this problem, but you can do it this way, or you can do the product rule mixed with the quotient rule. Let's practice that. Q prime of x. So let's do the product rule, which is the derivative of 2x squared is 4x, and you leave that quotient alone, and then plus leave 2x squared alone, but then you have the quotient rule right there, which is the derivative of the top, leave the bottom alone, minus the derivative of the bottom, leave the top alone, over the denominator squared. You can probably see why I did not want to rush through this unit, or this last page of notes. And if you wanted to, you could actually double check that that would be equivalent to what I started to do up here, where you'd still have technically the product rule up there. It would look different, but it ended up being about the same. So what's q prime of 2? Well, plug in 2 in for all these x's. 4 times 2 is 8. f of 2 is 2, g of 2 is negative 1. Plus, let's see, 2 squared is 4, times that 2 is 8. We said all of these f of x, the g of x is negative 1, and negative 1 when you square it is 1, and then g of x, or sorry, f of x is 2. And now we need to find f prime of 2, which was 9, and g prime of 2 is negative 1. So the way I'm looking at it, 8 times negative 2 is negative 16. Let's see, negative 9 plus 2, I'm reading that as negative 7, times that 8 will be negative 56, 62, 72. Holy cow, that's a large number. Again, feel the need to pause and really understand. Try it on your own. See if you get the same answer. All right. Now notice this last one before you're ready. It's a tangent line problem. Remember, you need a point and a slope. Well, they give you the x-coordinate of the point. How do you find the y-coordinate? Plug it into that problem. Well, 3 times 3 is 9. And g of 3 is negative 3. So the point that we're talking about is 3, negative 3, after you divide. Now the slope, that is figuring out what b prime of 3 is. Well, how do you find b prime of 3? You got to find b prime of x first. Derivative of the top, leave the bottom alone. Minus, leave the top alone. Derivative of the bottom. Notice that sometimes I mess up the order. It's just like a preference at that point. G of x squared. So again, g of 3 was negative 3. So 3 times negative 3 minus 3 times 3. I guess I could write negative 3 squared. I hope you can do that in your head. And I need g prime of 3 is 6. So I'm looking at negative 9 minus 54. It's negative 63, right? Divided by 9 is negative 7. Holy cow, this is taking up a bunch of room. So my slope is negative 7. So if you write out your, I like to write in slope intercept, or point slope form, excuse me. X minus your x coordinates, and then minus that y coordinate. And a lot of math teachers prefer this way over slope intercept or other forms, but you can distribute and simplify if you want. So again, pause the video, make sure you get it, try it on your own, and then you should be ready for your homework.